What is up, everybody? The commissioner here, Jimmy, the mailman, Milstead. Uh, it is Tuesday, October the 10th, 2023, and it is puck drop day. The National Hockey League returns. Three big games. That means fantasy hockey is also returned, and we are excited here. The League Fantasy Hockey. Joining me today, the guy that the show's named after, the deputy of the League Fantasy Hockey, Kevin Stork from British Columbia, my favorite Canadian. How are you doing, sir? Did you have a great Canadian Thanksgiving?
We did. We ended up having roast beef dinner last night, so it was tasty. The wife makes excellent Yorkshire pudding, and we had all the fixings with some potatoes and roasted carrots and some peas. It was a delicious dinner, and we have enough for leftovers tonight.
Yes, that's right. We got a triple header to open things off, like I said, and embarking on a new NHL season. Lots of hope for 32 squads out there, and but before we dive in, we're going to go over our league matchups. There's 6 league matchups this week. We introduced 2 new teams, like we've been talking about, and this is the Storksdesk episode 3. Um, we have our NHL predictions for the year on paper and recorded. Is there anything you'd like to take back from last show, Stork?
Well, I'm keeping everything I got, and I've got my picks laid out for the league for this week. And I, what are we like? Just a little over 2 hours before the first game puck drop, and I'm just looking forward to the fantasy season. I'm looking forward to the league fantasy hockey this year. I'm looking forward to all my fantasy leagues. I've got the Marner Matthews connection here in this league, along with another league, so I'm excited about that. In one of my leagues, I've got Bedard starting up for me, so I'm excited about that. I've got young kids like Fantilli and Logan Cooley on a couple of my teams. And in one of my teams, I've got the Hughes brothers, all three of them. So I'm
Woo.
excited about that league too. So I'm ready for the 23-24 season, Jimmy.
Yeah, buddy. It is a year of the youth movement. There's an exciting young crop coming in tonight. Bedard Mania is the highlight of it as they take on the Pittsburgh Penguins. But we'll dive into the three NHL matchups here in a little bit. But let's review our 2022-2023 champion, Mark Raymond, DB Cooper, the defending champions. They own the cup until there's a new winner, or if they defend it. He's been keeping great care of it, as you can see in the background. But the champs did get their rings. It's banner night for them, and we are celebrating right now the 19 guys that crossed the finish line last year, Stork. As you can see, they got their names inscribed, immortalized in league history. And I'm trying to look for my slide here. What do you think? DB Cooper, 17-6 last year. Mark Raymond, the manager, captained by David Pasternak. We had Dougie Hamilton, Nazem Kadri, Andrew Kopp, Noah Cates, JT Miller, Lucas Raymond, Rasmus Sandin, Blake Whaler, Kirill Kaprizov, Charlie McAvoy, Dylan Cousins, Jason Robertson, Mikhail Sergachev, Darnell Nurse, Pavel Buchnevich, and the goaltending duo of Linus Ullmark, Jeremy Swayman from Boston. Immortalized 19 names. To my knowledge, I think the only returning name for Mark, his first draft pick, Jason Robertson, I'm sure he might have a couple more. I have to look at his roster again. What do you think? These men are the first to ever get across the finish line. Any final words recapping last year's championship run?
Well, I mean, he had a solid team, as you can see by his lineup. And of course, the goaltending duo in the Boston Bruins camp there with Allmark and Swayman really worked for him last year with a record-setting point season for the Bruins. Really helped him out a lot too. And he had a very good season, as you can see, and he was well deserving of a championship. But I'm afraid he's going to lose it this year. So
Yeah, he's been taking good care of the cup. He's enjoyed it at our draft party. I'm sure if he's watching tonight, he'll have that thing to celebrate and kick off the season. But Stork, primarily this show, we're without the Colonel Nick Reedy, but Cherry Grapes has made his league selections. We're gonna like dive into the 6 matchups real quick and see what you and Nick has sent us our picks as well. I gotta find it on the messenger, but I'll he can't join us today because he's at work. But we have 6 great games going. How excited are you for tonight's matchups as far as the NHL? Kick it off.
oh, I mean, I can't
Let's
wait, man. I mean, we got Tampa Bay and Nashville going at it at 2:30 our time. I guess 5:30 Eastern Standard Time. But we got just a little over 2 hours, and we get to watch our first game of the year, man. So I'm excited. We also have the Hawks in Pittsburgh tonight and Seattle and Vegas tonight, taking on the Stanley Cup champions. So, and along with 6 games tomorrow, including my Leafs taking on the Canadians. So I'm excited about that. I can't wait, man. I can't wait for the first stats to come in for this year.
Yeah, 3 solid games. I think the NHL did it right. It's on ESPN here in the States. I'm imagining it's on your major, CBC, Sportsnet.
Sportsnet,
And
probably.
I'm intrigued by the matchups. It's going to be interesting to see what Tampa Bay can do out of the gates without Vasilevsky. We've talked about our NHL predictions last year. Uh, Nashville coming in with a lot of younger players. I'm still not sure what to make of that Nashville squad, but they will kick it off, like you said, 5:30 Eastern, 2:30 Pacific. The matchup I'm really looking forward to is Crosby versus Bedard, man, 8 Eastern on ESPN here in the States. It's Bedard hype down here, even in the States, man. Uh, I'm excited also. Seattle Thunderbird Kevin Korchinski has made their roster. It'll be interesting to see the starting lineup tonight. Does he play? Is he going to get sent back? I'm happy for the kid. Interesting lineup or team, this Chicago Blackhawks. Let's see what Connor Bedard can bring to the NHL. He's quite easily the biggest hype machine rolling into this season, and he's the talk of the hockey world. And then, like you said, at 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific, Vegas Golden Knights unveil their first ever championship banner in front of the latest expansion team who had a great year last year, a great second year, the Seattle Kraken. I think that's going to be a barn burner and a great main event tonight. Uh, Interested to see what the Kraken can do here on this October 10th. I'd like to quickly shout out my dad celebrating his 74th birthday today.
Oh.
Happy birthday, Dad. I know he doesn't really watch this stuff, but had to get that in because October 10th is always stuck in my head as my dad's birthday. So a shout out to my dad. So, Stork, you want me to dive into the league matchups?
Sure.
Let's take a look here real quick as I'm my own producer. I got to bring them up. We're going to be competing, Storky, with Don Cherry all season long. Like I said, I'll bring up Nick's picks here real quick. But an interesting opening week slate of games. Can you see all the matchups?
Yeah.
I'm probably in the way here. But we've got the Stork Cup rematch, Storky. Scott Lanham, who did not have a great finals last year, he's going to want revenge. And Don Cherry really likes the way his team looks this year. He actually picked him. If you can see, the grapes signify who he picks. So if you can see there, he's going Scott Lanham. Scott got burnt in the finals last year and ran out of gas, but he has a proud Nova Fire Brigade team. Scott does lead the series 1-0 regular season wise. Last year he got the victory over Mark, but Mark holds the bragging rights winning that Stork Cup. That's going to be the Stork game of the week. We also got Waylon Womack taking on Julio. Also, this is a non-divisional week, kicking it all off. There's 6 of those. Last year, the Gretzky division, the Gretzky division was 18, 16, and 2 head-to-head last year, Stork. Bragging rights went to your division. Before we go on to any other matchups, what do you think of that? Is the Gretzky the cream of the crop in this league?
I think they're pretty, both divisions, I think, are going to be quite evenly matched, as the whole league is. I talked about a couple of weeks ago in our, once we had our team set, I said we got a lot of parity in this league. So I think, like I said before, 21 games in the schedule. I think it's important that you get off to a good start. You don't want to go to 0-4 to start the season because it's a long hill to climb once you hit that mark. But I think we're going to have a lot of parity this year. It's going to be a great season.
Yeah, as you can see, I feel like a weatherman here, but Waylon takes on Julio. Last year, these two teams were the best at the center position. I believe they're pretty strong at that position again. These were 2 unbeatable teams in the face-off stat circles. But Waylon leads the series against Julio 1-0. I really like Julio's team. And you said last show, that's besides you winning the cup, who obviously you want to win. But if you couldn't win it, you had high praise for Julio's squad. We'll dive into Julio's squad here and the matchup here in a minute. But that'll be a great match. Waylon, a heavy favorite. Don Cherry has him going to the finals. We'll look at that matchup here in a minute. My squad, the Ad Americans, have a tall task as we take on Probert Etiquette. Dave Snellgrove's Probert Etiquette, he's very confident in his squad. He leads the regular season series 1-0 against Adna. But look, Grapes has Jimmy winning that matchup, Stork. He also had Waylon beating Julio, by the way. I know you're keen on this because you want to see Dave come out the gate slow. Like I said, we will dive into that matchup in a few minutes. Over on the Ovechkin side of things, a first ever meeting, Stork. Nick Reedy, he's going to be on the East Coast taking on Alex. And Don Cherry likes Alex to get her first ever win, McDavid. It'll be interesting to see. One of the things we didn't take, or at least I haven't taken into account of, is how many games players will be playing this week. So that'll be key in the wins. But the Cherry Bombs make their debut along with Bedard. So there's a lot of debuts tonight, Stork. The Cherry Bombs get off versus Nick. And that's the first ever meeting. Tim, the pipe layer Kelly, and that is Don Cherry's Stork Cup championship prediction. He's got all the pressure in the world, Stork. He is traveling to meet Mark on the east side. Mark leads that all-time series 1-0. That'll be a really good matchup, I think. Mark's team hasn't been really talked about on our preview shows, but I still think he has a great goaltending duo there, even if Vasilevsky is hurt. And then our final matchup that we are showing here, that's your matchup, Stork. Longtime fantasy rival with Dan Hall, but first ever meeting here in the league. Stork versus Hall. We wanted to get this one on the schedule first. This is the first and only meeting unless you go meet in the playoffs. But look at Grapes. He is not high on Dan Hall for the season, but he does have him in week 1 beating you, Stork. Let's talk about your match first. What do you think of Grapes picking against you again?
Well, I mean, like Nick said, a little too much to drink. Don Cherry last year picked me maybe once or twice in all 22 games or whatever it was, 21. And I'm not surprised that he's not picking me again. But again, I'm going to have to prove them wrong and have another playoff season. So we'll see how it
Yes,
goes.
Storky was in the playoffs last year, and we're gonna take a look at your matchup right now. You've got, like you said, the duo of Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner. I think that's going to be your key 1-2 punch. They start tomorrow, correct? The
Yes.
Leafs. So I'm looking at your lineup. You got Taylor Hall going tonight. The young phenom left wing Lucas Reichel. I know I've seen him play a couple exhibition games. He looks really quick and fast. I'm excited to see. I mean, Chicago is more than about Bedard, because they do have a lot of other young talent they've gotten before Bedard. Lucas Reichel is one of those players.
Yeah, I
It
have
looks
high
like
expectations on him. I think he's going to have a great career in Chicago.
so. It looks like tonight, Storky, you have a light start, but it doesn't matter about how you start. It's going to be how the schedule goes. You got Taylor Hall, and Lucas Reichel tonight going up against Dan Hall. Hawley's got Riley Smith, the new free agent pickup for the Pittsburgh Penguins, as they take on those Chicago Blackhawks. I like that player. I think that's gonna be a great fit. That's gonna be a tough guy for you to go against tonight. And that's Dan Hall's only got one player tonight, but
Yeah.
there's a lot more hockey during the week. We can dive into the player. What stands out on Dan Hall's team? If I don't know if you have his roster up, but gonna be a tough matchup for you.
Yeah, he's got a good team, and he's got a busy slate tomorrow in games. He's going to have me a little outmatched, but overall during the week, I think we're going to have a close, tight matchup. I know how Dan thinks, and I've been playing Dan in fantasy hockey for quite a few years now, so I know where when he was picking those players, I knew what he was thinking.
Yeah.
And he's a veteran fantasy hockey owner, and he better not be taken lightly. That's for sure.
So Nick's not here, but I'm gonna tell him everybody who he picked. He picked you, Stork. He's confident in your team, and if I recall, he really liked your team. Talking to him during the whole
It's
draft
hard
and
to
a
believe
couple.
that he actually said that.
Yeah.
I got a
So,
little teary-eyed when he picked me today. So yeah,
but looking at Dan's roster, his captain is Matt Tkachuk, uh, probably one of the best wingers in hockey. And then you could make the argument that Dylan Larkin, you had him last year.
yeah.
Red Wings for me, still a big question mark. I left them off my playoff making list, but I still like Dylan Larkin a lot. He should have a solid year. Timmy Stutzla, I mean, you could argue this guy probably should have been drafted over Lafreniere. I think at least the way things have gone here since both those men were drafted a few years ago. So I really like some offensive punch there. Hully's got on the back end. He's got Luke Hughes in our league. I think he stole him right from you. I know that was a guy you were targeting in this league. I know you have him in another league.
Yeah.
Charlie McAvoy. That's a nice offensive duo he's got on the blue line there. Any thoughts on those two guys?
Yeah, well, McAvoy is probably going to have a little bit more responsibilities in Boston this year. Like I talked about before, Boston's going to regress quite a bit this year, I think. And I think it's going to be a challenge for them to grab a playoff spot. But McAvoy is one of the key guys for Boston, and he has to A, stay healthy, and B, be one of the leaders more so than he has in the past.
And real quick, just for roster purposes, it looks like he picked up Patrick Kane. He has him tucked away until they find out where he's going to go. He is taking up a bench spot on Hall's roster, but it'll be interesting to see where do you have Patty Kane going? Do you see him going to a Buffalo, or is he going to go to an original six Detroit Red Wings? Thoughts?
That's a possibility. I mean, You never know. I think he's pretty intent on staying in the original six team. So Detroit would be a good target. I don't know if he's gonna go back to New York or not. I don't think so. And I certainly wouldn't want to see him go to Boston because that would worry me a little bit. But who knows? I mean, Patrick May, now that he's sitting out and not doing anything and not signed by anybody, it might be something for him to say, you know what, I'm gonna walk away. I don't know what he's doing though, but I'm really surprised that he didn't sign with somebody. That kind of tells me something, you know.
Yeah. Well, looking at your roster, I like your tandem, excuse me. Uh, better than Holly's, but we'll see. I'm gonna go ahead and pick you as well, Stork. So jot me down for your club. You got Gorgiev in net for Colorado, and they're like the odds-on favorite to win the Stanley Cup this year. And you've got Jeremy Swayman. We'll see if he can end up being the number one there. By the way, real quick, Holly's got Gustafson in Minnesota and Corpusalo in Ottawa. I like the Corpusalo. The question mark with him all the time, though, is can he have a healthy season?
Yeah.
But Starkey, I love your back end. You got Adam Fox, a Norris candidate ever since he's been in the league, and Noah Dobson. So I like them a lot for you. You got Jesper Bratt again. You had him last year.
Mm-hmm.
Tremendous player. I had Lucas Raymond last year before Mark Raymond scooped him up off the waiver wire. I had to get rid of Raymond late in the playoffs. Raymond ended up becoming a Stork Cup champion, but you have him on your squad this year, and you've got Owen Power. So mark me down for a Kevin Stork win over Hall this week. I am also going against Grapes. Did we get your pick, Stork? Are you going to beat
No, but believe it or not, I know you guys are picking Langley Scorpions this week, but I'm thinking it's going to be a real close matchup. And I'm taking the Killer Bees to edge me this week, although that's not what I want to see, obviously.
Wow.
But I am taking the Killer Bees to edge me in a very close contest.
All right, if Hull watches this, maybe he thinks that's reverse psychological.
Well, of course it is. Why would I vote against myself, man?
Yeah. So, okay, that's that matchup. Let's go on to another matchup. Which matchup would you like to talk about?
Well, let's go to your matchup with Pro Bear Etiquette and the dreaded and hated Dave Snellgrove. What's boo? You know,
Stork.
He's got another good playoff team, and he's going to be a pain in my ass again this year, being division rivals with me. But I'm gunning for him this year. He gave me a hard time last year. I only beat him once out of 3 games, so I got to go after him. And he took me out in the playoffs, I believe, and I don't like that either. So I'm going to be gunning for Dave. But in this matchup with you, it should be a really good one. Unfortunately, Jimmy, I've got Pro Bear Etiquette edging you out in another close contest.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking at the rosters right now. Grapes, as you can see, he said he's bullish. He took Adna. Usually, I think he would go with Dave a lot, but both teams I thought had great drafts. Who did Nick end up taking? Let me look. I'm sorry, on the Twitter machine here. He ended up taking me. So that's a shocker. Nick takes Jimmy. I'll drop that down. I haven't made my selection yet. Let's talk about it. There's a lot of guys going for both of us tonight. At least for me, I have Braden Point. I'm really excited. I got him late in the draft, Stork.
Yeah.
Well, not too late, but
he was a mid pick for you, so that's good.
He was a mid round pick, and he's definitely, if he's healthy, can definitely have a shot at 100 points. I'm pretty heavy at center. I got Matty Beniers this year. I'm really happy with my wingers. Zach Hyman, I think he's going to have a phenomenal year in Edmonton. I added some team toughness, Stork, at least for this opening couple of games, I picked up Stanley Cup champion Keegan Colasar, a former Seattle Thunderbird. I'm looking to hit all the categories, Stork. I want to spread the wealth. There's 22 categories to beat your opponent in the head-to-heads. But I have a lot of guys going. I got Tyson Berry. I'm hoping he will be the quarterback of the power play there in Nashville. I'm not expecting big things from Nashville like I did last year. Me going and sniffing the glue.
Oh, it's still there, eh?
That they were going to win the cup last
Do you
year.
have any left?
Yeah, it's all gone from our prediction show. But Tanner Jeannot as well. I have him playing for Tampa tonight. I'm happy about my goaltending. Connor Hellebuck just signed a big ticket in Winnipeg. That actually would probably be my change if I was allowed to change anything from our prediction show. I think Winnipeg has a shot now at making the playoffs. I know you're down on them, I think, from what I recall. Yeah. I have them out of the playoffs because I wasn't sure of their status. Him and Mark Scheifele signed big tickets. I think they're going to kind of get some motivation up for this. I think Hellebuck's by far a top 5 goalie. So I'm taking chances on Devin Levi and Akira Schmid. I have a 3-headed monster right now. Whether or not that goes throughout the season, we'll have to see that. But I'm actually nervous about this one, Stork. I love Dave's players, Jack Hughes. Big things. You talked about Connor Bedard. I think Jack Hughes every bit is the height machine there. Jersey is heavily favored to do well this year. He went early with Elias Pettersson. What do you think of Petey this year in Vancouver? You think Dave's going to have a solid pickup there?
Oh, yeah. I think he's going to have a big year, and he's one hell of a hockey player. I get to watch him a lot being here in Vancouver. And, yeah, he's definitely a solid pick. I would have definitely grabbed him if I had a chance to in the second round there. But, yeah, definitely. That's a good 1-2 punch with Jack Hughes and Elias Pettersson. That's a nice way to start your draft.
Yeah, and his top D man just got signed to a huge deal. Rasmus Dahlin there in Buffalo, 11 years. Got a lot of sheets. Was it 11 years? I don't remember what the term was. Was it 11 million?
I think it was 8 years at 11 season.
Yeah, he got a big ticket.
Payday for Mr. Dahlin for sure.
So I think he's actually going to have a phenomenal year. If I could turn back our NHL predictions, I can't remember. I picked Brent Burns for Norris for some reason because I have the Canes winning the cup. I know that was a wacky pick. I was sniffing a lot of glue, Stork. But Rasmus Sandin, I think you can, or not Sandin, Dahlin, I think you can put him up there in Norris contention. I think he's going to be good. But Dave's got a solid squad. He's the one that has Mark Scheifele as well. He is strong at center, and he's got a lot of guys going tonight. Seth Jones, Brandon Hagel, Adam Larson, he just picked up off the waivers for the Kraken. He's a pretty good, solid defenseman, and he's probably there for Dave's hitting, and I think he is on the power play a little bit, but we'll see how that goes. I'm looking forward to that game, by the way, the Kraken and the Vegas Golden Knights. Oh. Dave and Nets, Demko and Markstrom, both have to prove it, I think, this year. I have the Vancouver Canucks making the playoffs, so I have confidence in Demko. I absolutely have no confidence, Stork, in Jacob Markstrom. I think Calgary will be competitive, but I got to see Markstrom. Ever since they got ousted by the Edmonton Oilers, I just think this guy's kind of gone downhill. He had a terrible year last year. Any comments on Markstrom?
Well, I mean, like I said before about living in Vancouver, I got to watch Markstrom quite a bit. And he's one of those kind of goalies that when he's on the mark, he's one of the best in the league. But when he has a couple of bad games, I think he lets it get to him. And as you know, Calgary struggled quite a bit last year. They just couldn't get the offense going. It was a new chemistry in Calgary, and I think it affected Markstrom too. As far as this year is concerned, I see them challenging for a playoff spot, but like you, I don't see them getting in. I think they're going to miss the mark in the long run, but Markstrom is one of those key guys. If Calgary is going to make a playoff spot, Markstrom has to bounce back this year. And he's a big goalie. He's huge. And when he's focused and the team is playing well in front of him, they could make a difference this year.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pick Dave. I think Dave always gets one up on me. So do you, Stork. I just have a bad luck. So I'm going Dave. You have Dave. Nick has Jimmy, and Grapes has Jimmy's. So, and a big shout out to Dave. Me and him are playing with heavy hearts this week as we lost Dave's dad yesterday. Battled bladder cancer. So league dedication to Doug Snellgrove, who passed away the other night. Dave, we're thinking about you, sir, and we know it's a tough week for you. And I have a feeling you're going to play some inspired fantasy hockey as you always do this year. We love you, buddy.
Hang tough,
Dave.
Bud.
Yeah. So with that, Storky, what matchup would you like to talk about next?
Let's go. Let's do the DuPont game. I think be interested in seeing that one.
Yeah, Mark looks like he's rejuvenated. How are the playoffs going, Stark? He's been in the Baltimore Orioles. I don't know. Are they out?
I know they're still playing, but they're not doing too well. So
yeah,
they're still in there.
I know that's been Mark's focus lately. I know he's going to be ready for hockey once if they get bounced, because Mark's the biggest Orioles fan I'm friends with. But Grapes has Timmy taking this one because obviously he has Timmy and the Pipe Players taking the Stork Cup championship this year, Storky. I'm interested in that pick there. He took DuPont. So Nick and the Pipe Players in his own division. So I think both squads are pretty solid. As you recall, Mark had the number 2 pick, and he has Leon Draisaitl in his lineup. I'm jealous of that. I had Leon last year. I think it's a determined Leon Draisaitl. If you recall, I think I had him winning the Rocket Richard. So what do you think of Mark Wood's squad here, Storky?
Oh, well, I think he's going to have a good team this year, and having Draisaitl as his leader in scoring category. I think Draisaitl's always a monster every year. I think he's going to have a career year, if you can believe that. I think him and McDavid are going to go off this year. It's just my feeling. And Draisaitl is, just as much of a key for the Edmonton Oilers as McDavid is. And DuPont is going to be happy to have him on his team.
Yeah, I'm looking at Mark's squad. I don't think we've talked nearly enough of. I think he had a great draft. He's got Sergachev, who I think is every bit as good as Hedman on that Tampa blue line. Maybe better if fantasy-wise, grabbing power play points and etc. They have a game tonight. Mark also has Philip Forsberg, a guy that's probably going to be one of their top guys if he stays healthy. The problem with Forsberg is, can he stay healthy? Nashville's, like we said at the top of the show, just one of those teams. I don't know. I can't get a grip on him. But he's in tonight. Chris Letang, will he suffer with the Erik Karlsson effect there in Pittsburgh? Will he play better with Karlsson? I could see it going either way.
Yeah.
Number one key factor is Chris Letang has to stay in the lineup. Goaltending, Mark probably has the best goaltending tandem in the league. Listen to this, Stork. He's got UC Saros, who I would put up there with anybody. Ilya Sorokin, probably the top guy if he could only get that Islanders team to win. And then Andre Vasilevsky's out long-term IR, but he's got him tucked away, Storky. What do you think of this goaltending duo or tandem, the Woody Woodpeckers?
Well, I think when Vass gets back in late November there, you might see Mark deciding to unleash on one of them and pick up some scoring is what I'm thinking he's probably planning on doing, which is he was well aware that Vass was hurt and he was going to be gone for a while. So I think he just wanted to put a little trading chip aside and just wait for Vass to get back. And you'll probably see a guy like Soros go to a team that needs goaltending.
So who do you like in this matchup between Mark and Pipe? I can't remember.
I'm taking DuPont this week. That's
okay.
For sure. Yeah, I got DuPont.
And I am going to take Mark Wood. I like Mark Wood. I think he's gonna get the victory. Real quick for Tim, he's got a lot of guys going tonight. He's got Bedard and Crosby on his team. Go playing against each other, but playing with. I think DuPont will take some good offensive category leads tonight. Barbashev adds toughness. He's got Andre Burakovsky. A healthy Andre Burakovsky will be key for DuPont.
Yes.
Jonathan Marchessault returns to the DuPont Pipelers. If I recall, he had him last year. Vince Dunn on the blue line. I think he's Seattle's best defenseman. And Jordan Eberle. So a lot of guys. Oh, and Jack Eichel. Don't forget about Jack Eichel. I think he got him late, if I recall, in the draft. Or not late.
I think he was another one of those mid-round picks.
Yeah, he got great value there. And he's got Grubauer going tonight. So I made fun of you, Stork, for being a home run. Tim Kelly's got so many Seattle Kraken. This guy, he's the biggest homer there is. But I think this is a great matchup to kick off both those guys' years. Give me, though, Mark Wood to squeak out a victory here. What matchup you want to go to next?
Let's go to Nick's matchup with the Norsemen.
Nick and the Norse, they're going to take on the Cherry Bombs. First ever meeting, first ever game for the Cherry Bombs. Alex Buchanan's squad. She's had the #1 pick. She's got Connor McDavid. I'm all in on her centers, man. Nico Hischier. Yeah. She's going to get a ton of face-off win categories. I think she could be the top face-off
she very well could be, yeah.
player in this league. And she's got a mix of great young talent. Matt Boldy, I had him last year. I'm expecting him big things from him.
Yeah.
Tonight she's got Roman Josi going, Ricard Raquel in Pittsburgh. Evgeny Malkin, if you recall, went, I don't know how many rounds we had, 18. He must have been in the teens.
Yeah.
Evgeny Malkin.
So I think he went like 14th or 15th or something.
Nobody seemed to want him until Alex. She's a Penguins fan, so maybe a little homerism there for her. But
is she a Pens fan?
She is a Penguins fan. Yeah. So she's got Evgeny Malkin. That was a great value pick, and she's got Jari in net, so that might hurt her. You had Jari.
She's a Pens fan.
Yeah. The key. She's got a great duo though, Jari and Shesterkin. So that's a great 1-2 tandem here in fantasy hockey, I think. And Pierre-Luc Dubois and Ryan Hartman, I believe, just signed a deal in Minnesota. So she's got quite a good team there. I believe Grapes has her making the playoffs. Over on Nick's side, Steven Stamkos goes tonight. Yanni Gourde goes tonight. Jared McCann, who I had last year, great fantasy numbers last year, 70-point offense last year. He's got Erik Karlsson on the blue line and Victor Hedman. That's a great defensive duo there on Nick's team. I think Nick's going to have close to a playoff team this year. I don't care what Grapes says. Grapes has him as the league tuna, Stork. Grapes is crazy. He's also got the other Karlsson, William Karlsson, for Vegas. He might still be drunk for all I know ever since that cup celebration. Skinner and Copley in the nets for Nick. Who are you going with here, Stork?
Well, I like the Cherry Bombs to make a playoff spot this year. I also picked her to grab one of those spots. But in this matchup against the Norsemen, I think she's going to get edged out by Nick this week. It's going to be another one of those. I think a lot of these matches this week are going to be close, but I'm taking the Norsemen on this one.
All right, and as I look at Nick, typical Nick, he took himself. So me, I took Dave, you took Hully and Nick takes himself. So, Nick, I can't wait to hopefully have Nick on next week to see how his record is, and he's probably going to go 0-6 for all I know. But Grapes, as you saw, takes Alex. I think I told you I took Alex, right? If I didn't, I'm taking Alex. Connor
No,
McDavid.
you did say you were going to take
Okay.
Alex.
The Connor McDavid effect, I think, will catch up this week, and I think he's going to have a great start to the season. I think it's going to be an MVP season for Connor McDavid. But Nick, though, in my opinion, does have a very good team, and I think he will be way better than last year. What matchup you want to talk about?
Parity.
Yeah. We got, what, 2 more matchups to talk about?
Let's look at the Wendigo.
The Wendigo. Cherry has him in the finals, and he also has Huma making the playoffs. So this is a great first week matchup. The Wendigo this year was at the draft, and he still, I think he drafted a lot of centers, but or no, he took a lot of wingers. But both teams coming in hungry. Washington did end up being the third place team last year. A very successful season for Whalen. He was tough to catch for me in the standings. I could never catch him. Those ties that he had were really tough. Huma was there, a bubble team. He got better in the consolation round to improve his draft status. His captain, Stork, is Nate McKinnon. I'm a believer in Colorado Avalanche. I think they're going to be revived. What are you thinking of Julio versus Whalen here?
Yeah, this is going to be a good match. Like you said before, I'm high on Yuma for the season. I think he's going to finish first overall. I picked him, but in this matchup, I'm going to go against him because I like Washington's lineup for this week. I think he's going to outman Yuma, and this is 2 teams that I seen on my predictions going opposite ends. I think Yuma's going to go to the top and Washington's going to go to the bottom. But I'm taking the Wendigo for this matchup this week against Yuma.
Yeah, Nick agrees with you. He's taking Whalen's squad. Julio has Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, a 100-point scorer. Ryan O'Reilly, I keep forgetting, is a Nashville Predator. I'm interested in to see. I think that's going to be a interesting place for O'Reilly. He left the Leafs last year. I'm a big believer Evander Kane. Everybody offensively on that Edmonton squad is going to get their day on offense. So that's a great fantasy player for Julio. Mark Stone is actually healthy, Stork. That's weird. He's going to be playing in a regular season game. Defending captain, Stanley Cup champs. He's also got Braden McNabb. Julio is not a Vegas fan, Stork, but when it comes to fantasy, it seems like Julio always has a lot of golden knights. So watch out for that. I'm a big believer in Miro Heiskanen.
Yeah.
Him in other leagues, he's like the greatest fantasy defenseman, but I have a feeling that changes this year. I think you're going to see a great year from Miro Heiskanen. And a guy that I don't think gets talked about enough, Dave had him last year. Mika Zibanejad, if the Rangers don't struggle under Laviolette, I think Zibanejad is going to be a great player for Julio. Give me Julio to upset Washington here in week 1 if I haven't said that already. Nick has Whalen and you have Whalen. Grapes has Whalen as well. Whalen, real quick, JT Miller, a defending Stork Cup champ. He also has Pasta, the defending captain, on his squad this year. That was his first-round pick. I like Whalen's decor, Shea Theodore, Drew Doughty. Drew Doughty might be a little old and long in the tooth, but I think he's revived now that the LA Kings have some great center depth. And the question for them, like always, is going to be their goaltending. Yeah. And a guy that I had on my radar, Nikita Kucherov, he goes for Whalen tonight. I think Kuch... the guy just kind of seems like he never gets talked about, and he is definitely. He had 120 points, didn't he, a few years ago?
Something like that, yeah. Hell of a hockey player.
Yeah.
But he's He's got a temper, that boy.
Yeah, he does.
He gets thrown off his game easily, and if he gets knocked around a lot, it seems to put him over the edge. So I think that's one of his downfall. He's a hell of a hockey player, but he doesn't play very well angry. He starts making really bad mental mistakes.
So the only thing I'm not sold on, and it's a typical Whalen characteristic on his fantasy teams, he doesn't believe in goaltending, Stork. He went with Jeff Skinner, or not Jeff Skinner, Stu Skinner for the most part last year. He based mercenaries on the waiver. He's got Darcy Kemper and Marc-Andre Fleury as his goaltenders. I guess
Yeah.
Kemper, he had good shutout value last year. I think he was up there in shutouts, but Whalen likes to stack his skaters and go light goaltending side. Do you think that'll hurt him again? Or he wasn't hurt with it last year. What do you think of that strategy?
Well, I think I mean having Fleury a few years ago would be great, but I think he's going to find himself in some goaltending problems. I think he's going to lose a lot of stats in the goaltending categories. So it's going to be a challenge. He's going to need to make up for it with his forwards for sure.
All right, and then we have one final matchup. This is the the Grapes matchup of the week, the defending Stork Cup championship. What are your thoughts? DB Cooper, the defending champs, against Scott Lanham and the Nova Fire Brigade.
Well, I see DB Cooper winning this week, having a little after party after their championship run. But as you know, I have DB Cooper out of the playoffs this year. But I think they're going to look good this week. But it's just a mirage. It's going to be a rough year for DB Cooper.
We'll see what he thinks. It looks like Nick agrees with you as I look at his messages. He has him winning as well. I haven't made my official selection yet. Who did Grapes have? Grapes had.
I think he had DB Cooper, didn't he?
No, he has Scott. He has
Oh,
Scott.
he has Scott.
He always takes Scott over anybody, it seems like. But I have not made a decision yet because I want to look at this matchup real quick. I think this is going to be definitely the matchup of the week. If you recall, Robertson is a returning Stork Cup champion, and that was Mark's first pick in round 1 at 13 or number 12. And then he went with Brady Tkachuk at the Snake. I think it's going to be a solid year for Brady Tkachuk. This guy's going to bring everything and everything here in the fantasy realm. And I think the Ottawa Senators are going to be a playoff team this year. He's got some good players. It's just, are they going to be good fantasy players, Stork? Sebastian Aho, I have big aspirations and good things I think that are going to happen with the Carolina Hurricanes. Aho just got signed, right? Chris Kreider in New York, how's he going to perform? This guy has shown that he can put the puck in the net. He's got a lot of older players like a Joe Pavelski. A lot of people are very high on the Dallas Stars. Here's a name that Mark picked up on the waiver wire post-draft, Connor Brown. Is he going to be playing with Connor McDavid? Connor Brown, if you recall, he was with the Caps last year, had a devastating knee injury, was out all year, but he returns and it sounds fully healthy. What do you think of this pickup by Mark? He's going to be playing, I guess, alongside McDavid.
I'm not sure if that's going to happen. I think Kane is going to play with them some more. I think they had good chemistry together when Kane was in the lineup. So it'll be interesting to see if he does. I just don't see him. I mean, he's a good hockey player. I mean, don't get me wrong, but I really think he's a top 9 player as far as your lineup is concerned. I don't see him as a first line player, but we'll see how it goes. If he stays healthy, who knows? He might have a great year with the Oilers. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, the defending champion, DB Cooper, they're putting a lot of stock in the Carolina goaltending tandem this year. He had Boston's last year. This year, Marquez, Freddie Anderson, injury prone, and Antti Ranta. I mean, are either one of these guys going to be the guy? Because there's that young Russian Kachekov. If I can say his
Hey,
name.
you got him right. I think you got
But I
him right.
said I don't think I said it right. But if I did, I'll pat myself on the back. I think I foresee him. If you remember on my NHL predictions, I foresee him being the Conn Smythe. I think he's going to grab it, and I'm not even sure who has him. Do you have him?
No, I don't have him.
Um,
Somebody picked him up. I know that.
I'm just forecasting. I think the defending champions are going to be looking for a goaltender all year long, but that's just me. We'll see. That's why I am taking Scott in this matchup, Storky. I love Scott's team. He got Sasha Barkov, I believe, in the third round. What happened there? I mean, I know we had stacked 2 rounds, but a guy like Alexander Barkov, I don't think the Florida Panthers are a playoff team. Amazingly, I know that sounds crazy, but I still think this guy's going to put up great fantasy numbers.
Yeah.
Scott is playing with an older roster. He's got Alex Ovechkin. Mikko Rantanen was his number 1 pick. I still think that guy's going to be a 100-point player. He's got great team toughness. I think Tom Wilson's going to have a great bounce back year for the Caps. He's a big key factor in if the Caps are going to be a playoff team, I think. He goes with Josh Morrissey again on the blue line, returning to the Nova Fire Brigade. I love that player. I think he's still going to put up good numbers. Whether or not it's as good as last year will remain to see. Hampus Lindholm does good things in Boston. I like that. I think he returns to Scott's team. Jamie Benn, if the Dallas Stars are going to be everything that everybody talks about, he's definitely got to be a key factor in that. I think that's going to be a good player for him. I like Scott's lineup. Anybody else stand out here? He's got a couple guys on the IR, Logan Couture and Aaron Ekblad. It'd be nice to have those guys in his lineup to bolster his team. But his goaltenders I like better than Mark's. He's got the defending Cup champion Aiden Hill. He'll be in the lineup tonight. And then he took Mark's goalie last year, Linus Ullmark. So what do you think of Scott's goaltending duo?
That's a pretty good duo, actually. I don't think Ullmark's going to be the same guy that we watched last year. It was like he was stopping beach balls out there.
Yeah.
And I just don't see Boston repeating. So it's going to obviously affect Ullmark, but still, all in all, he's a good goaltender. He's not a legendary goalie that he looked like last year. But yeah, I mean, he's got a good duo there. I'm pretty happy with that one. I'd be happy with that on my team. Hey, I took Swayman, so I mean, there must be something with the Boston Bruins that you have to like because they're a defensive-minded team.
I'm with you, Stork. I think Swayman's going to end up taking that position, but we'll see. I think Boston's going to take a step back, but I still like Swayman in the net. But we'll see how it goes. I mean, that's why it's the beginning of the year. Everybody's undefeated at this point in time at this recording, fantasy-wise as well. This has been a fun show, man, predicting with you. The floor is yours, buddy. The puck drops in over an hour and a half with Nashville and Tampa, and he is for the Leafs, guys.
Go Leafs, go!
That is your Stanley Cup pick.
Right where my heart is, man.
I feel you, man. I have the Capitals outside the playoffs, but I'm actually more confident in these guys. I'm just trying to put my realistic hat on. They are old, and they will have to survive injuries, but I still think they can compete. And they got some young guys, a young coaching staff. I'm excited about the Caps, but that's where my heart is. But I did pick the hated fellow Metro Division Carolina Hurricanes to win that cup.
Well, I'll tell you what, Jimmy, I'm going to unpack this. This is one thing I worry about with the Washington Capitals. We've got Ovechkin, who's getting on in age, and there's an obvious goal for him to break the goals record. I think it's going to be a distraction for some of the younger Washington players. I think they're going to be catching themselves trying to feed him a lot. And that could affect the Caps' play during. So that's the one thing I'm a little concerned about. Other than that, I mean, Washington is another one of those teams that has some really good young talent in the system if you think about it. But I think it's this Ovechkin thing's gonna weigh on them, and I think it's gonna affect their play, and that's just how I see it.
Fair enough. I do like the fact that Ovi still wants to win, and I still think that matters. And he loves when these young guys score just as much as he scores. So we'll see. I like I said, I love the way the young coaches' voices are fresh. Spencer Carberry, I think he's going to be a hell of a hire. Even post Ovechkin, should he hang him up in the next couple years after, if he does break the record, I would think he would. The league wants him to. I know that. I know a lot of people don't want him to, but I think it's exciting for the game of hockey. Nick's Minnesota Wild. I'm expecting them to have a great year. So hopefully we can get Nick on next week to see how things go. This has been a fun hour, Stork. Good luck to you and your team and all your fantasy teams. And good luck to anybody watching that's not a part of our league that has fantasy hockey. I think it is going to be one of the greatest hockey seasons we've ever seen. So, yeah, buddy.
An hour and a half, and we get to watch the puck drop, man. I can't wait. Let's get it going. Right. And I can't wait till next week's show to talk about the first week of the 23-24 season in the NHL and the first week in the league fantasy hockey. It's time to go, man.
Let's go. And we'll end it with that. As Badger Bob always once said, it's a great day for hockey. And it's a great day for opening night face-off hockey. Enjoy the hockey, guys, and we'll talk to you next week. This has been the mailman, Jimmy Milstead, the commissioner with the deputy, Kevin Stork, episode 3 of season 2 of the Storksdesk. See you next week. Good night, everybody.